What up, guys? It's Gentle Onion Gaming. You know who we are, but in case you don't, Brian, Zack Attack,
How are you?
Colter, the
Slob.
Jag, and Derek, D Wrecking Ball.
Now, before we get into this,
Yeah.
how thirsty are you right now?
Really thirsty.
Brian's got kidney stones.
You gotta flush him. You gotta flush him. You know, there's no other way.
That's why he's always doubling over like,
And for Nick. Okay. We're going to talk about games, recommended video games. So when you're sitting at home, you're like, I'm bored, I want a new game. What would a professional video game fat slob, no, I'm just joking, play? We got you covered, all right? So we're going to start with Derek. He's going to tell you his recommended game that he's played within the last year, and you should pick it up if it sounds fun to you. Derek, what is your game?
well, I haven't played a whole lot, but I have played one extensively. As you guys may or may not know, Fallout 3 was one of my favorite games of all time. So when Fallout 4 came, I had to get in on it. So I love that game. Of course, it's a Bethesda game. There's so much to do. There's so many epic things going on. You know, just creating your character, playing the world that you want to play, the way you want to play. It's great. You know, I always like to play sort of an assassin-like sniper, and oh boy, it's fun. You know, my favorite things though, update to graphics. I mean, I know some people complain about it, but I thought they were great, especially for a big game like that. Really made me feel like, you know, you're removed from the world in an apocalyptic wasteland. Running around, killing super mutants, changed a lot of the enemies to actually be unique and diverse, so you never got too bored about what's going on, especially when they had variations on all the enemies, you know?
Yeah.
You got some that are turning invisible, others that are just way beyond your skill level, kill you almost instantly. It was so great.
Especially like the
No,
especially like the institution with the introduction of their synths. Those were actually interesting because that's a new enemy type faction within that game. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to wonder. Is the storyline good in Fallout 4? Because I'm a storyline person.
I-
That's what I want.
I enjoyed it. I really did. And one of the things that made me like it even more is, like we were talking about, the main thing is this institution. These people who are creating these robots that look like people, and you're trying to find out where your son went after he was taken from the vault that they were in. Anyway, you find out these bastards are the ones behind it, and you got to go find out. Now, there's a lot of junk in Fallout, but one thing that you constantly see are mannequins who look is eerily like these people just standing there sitting at you. And these people are talking about these people in the shadows. You don't know who's who, and these mannequins represent that so well. And I just thought that was a really cool thing that they put in. There's just mannequins.
That sounds
everywhere.
really creepy.
It's pretty creepy.
I played Fallout 4 for about 10 hours or so. I never played New Vegas or Fallout 3 or anything, so I wasn't really trained in the Fallout ways, I guess. So this was a really big, meaty game, and I couldn't really get into it. I saw what some people see in it. I get the hooks, but it just didn't really work for me, I guess. But I thought it was really interesting. The thing that I didn't really like about it you talked about the story.
Mm-hmm.
With an open game like that, I found the story was kind of hard to go through. I almost need that linear gameplay with stories because they set it up as your son's gone, right? Somebody took your son, you got to find him. But then you get like 70 quests that you gotta do. And then so you're starting to chip away at all these quests and stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, I should be looking for my son. Like in a real world thing, I'd be doing that first.
I'm just gonna go take care of the soul, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
So I find that's what I think kind of like really fell off for me. I didn't care about the son because it was like there was so many quests that I would forget about him.
See, I think the way, and I know a lot of people had that problem. I think you had that same problem.
Yeah,
You just got
I
too
do.
distracted. What I like to do is I like to go on the main storyline, go straight, and then as side quests pop up, if I can branch out, I will. But if it's out of the way, I just don't bother with it at that time. So I will come back to it. What I do is I go straight, and then I just diverge where I need to. But if you're looking for a game where there's a lot to do, a lot of variation, tons and tons of quests, an awesome mech suit that you can hop in and run around on
Yeah.
That is
with
fun.
a machine gun. Yeah.
That's weird.
Okay,
Probably the game
so
for you.
let's do a quick thought experiment. How many onions would you cut up? You know, you're crying, cutting up all these onions. How many onions would you be willing to go through to get to play Fallout 4 again? Would it
How
be like
many
5?
onions?
Would you be able to eat 5 onions
I'm
straight?
eating them? I thought I was cutting
Eating
them.
them, yeah.
You have to cut them and eat them. So you have to cry through You have to cry through it, and you gotta eat them. So would you eat 10 onions to play Fallout 4 again?
No, I would probably do about 8 onions. 8 onions, but
Sliced, diced, eaten.
and salty from my tears.
So you would like shake your tears into them and eat it?
You gotta season it.
Seasoning, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
That's gross.
Well,
Well,
I've never been known for.
hygiene.
Yes.
All right, next one. We've got the Jed Colter. Colter, hit us up. What professional recommendation do you have for people?
So mine would be XCOM 2. I played the first one,
Yes.
so I have a little bit of experience when going into the second one. And Firaxis does an excellent job of improving upon what they kind of missed out or didn't really do right in the first game. And then the second one, they just really took it up to the next level.
So
Yeah.
what exactly is it that they did right and did so well? 'Cause
It'll-
I've never played them. I don't know.
Well, and
Much about
explain what it is. Too,
Yeah, what
for
kind of
those
game?
who
So-
don't know.
XCOM 2, what it is a turn-based strategy game where you're playing as a squad of humans against an alien race that has taken over our world and now occupies it.
What are they called?
They are called,
The Advent. They are true alien
they are
scum.
just, yes.
When you think of scumbags, this is where that term came from.
Wow.
These aliens.
Thanks, E.T.
Thanks, E.T.
All right, Colter. So
They came home.
what is your favorite part about that game?
I would have to say the environment. It's really destructible. They did a nice job with the tile sets since they are procedurally generated. Every single one of them, and I mean the destruction's so much smoother, and honestly the graphics are updated, so that's so much nicer.
Yeah, it is fun. You can go in and you'll be playing, and you can, you know, it's a strategy game. So you can go into it, blow up people's cover with rocket launchers, flamethrowers, all kinds of cool weapons you get. And then you get, like, once their cover is gone, the rest of your squad gets bonus chance to hit, things like that. So it is a lot of fun. It's one of the best strategy games there is.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the best management games there is if you're into that kind of gameplay where you
But
gotta build your base and stuff.
Are there
So, yeah.
ninjas?
Colter, are there ninjas?
I would have to say yes. I mean, there's one class that has a sword, and
Yeah.
he's stealth. He has a perk where he can be stealth, even though the whole entire squad's rebuild. So he can sneak up behind an alien, just
So aliens and ninjas. What's bad about the game?
I know. What more?
Where are
could
we
you
going?
ask
How
for?
how long is the game?
um,
How many hours have you put? Because you played this game too, right?
Yes.
it's kind of different depending on if you were pursuing it's kind of like Fallout 4. If you pursue the main storyline without really doing any of the side objectives like grabbing supplies or taking time to grab loot or anything else that pops up. I would have to say about 8 hours.
8 hours, really?
What have you put
maybe.
into it?
Well, that's how much I put into it. I mean, I kind of did it over time because I work and I only have a few hours. So
What about you?
Well, according to How Long to Beat, you know, the website, it's 28 and a half.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So you're just hardcore, Colter.
Yeah.
well, also I'm not playing on the
It's
hard
'cause we're
difficulty.
pros.
But it really depends. You could also add on mods, which could make the game even longer.
Did you add
I
any
have,
mods?
yes,
What'd you
What'd
add?
you do?
I've done, or not done. I'm going through a playthrough right now. A second one. It's called the Long War mod.
Oh, that sounds fun.
The Long Ward.
War.
So
What'd they
what is
do?
that?
What? I'm trying to remember what its description was. You can add, I think, more to your squad. At I don't know. It's either something
It's a
within the game.
long A battle, all right? That's all you need to know. You just fight a ton of dudes for a really long time. All right, Colter.
Okay, Colter. So let's go back to some trauma in your past. XCOM 2, we're doing the same thing Derek had to do. XCOM 2 is taken away from you. You're not going to be able to play it. You have to eat the buffalo, blazing sauce wings. How many wings would you be willing to eat to play XCOM 2 game? One being you don't really care. You would let someone take it from you. 10 being you're willing to live out the fiery death for the next 24 hours to
And the
play
aftermath.
it again. Yeah, that's why I'm saying 24-hour fiery death.
I would have to say 8 of them.
8.
So we've got Derek's gonna scarf 8 onions for his game. Coulter's gonna snarf 8
Snarf.
8 blazing wings. So we've got some good games. If you know anything about rating scales, they're good games. Okay, let's do Zach's game. What is it, Zach?
Soma.
Soma.
What a great game that was. It's done by the Amnesia guys. And it starts off, you're like, I think in Toronto, I think it's supposed to be present day or maybe just a little bit in the future. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but all of a sudden you're in present day, you go to this doctor and he's like performing some kind of experiment type thing on you, and then next thing you know, I don't remember exactly how long in the future.
It's crazy far.
It's way in the future, and you're in an underwater base. And so I heard that description, and one of my favorite games ever is BioShock, and I was like, I gotta do that. I
Blind and sinker.
yeah, exactly. But I love horror games as well, and not a lot of them come to consoles, which sucks.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm definitely gonna get that game. And boy, it was awesome. The story is phenomenal. It's eerie, but it also has a kind of grounded feel, because it's not like super out there fantasy type stuff. Like this, like what happens in this game, there are like real people that we would consider very smart people that think that is doable in the future. And I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to ruin the story.
Yeah, it's important to know the story. I know that when I read an article when it was coming out, what sets Soma apart is that it's like scares, and what you're supposed to be afraid of is not based on jump scare stuff. So you're not going to have a lot of things popping out of you. It's not based on, oh, look at this gory, horrible thing.
Right.
It is based on a lot of things that are just kind of, it's like the fear of the dark. It's things that you're just kind of, as a human, kind of, I guess, intrinsically geared to be afraid of. And you already mentioned being trapped in a base underwater, so like BioShock, you're in this position where you're in a place that is scary in and of itself, sort of. Kind of like Doom being on Mars. It's the same type of thing. And I know that the developer's goal was that the storyline would be the driving factor for how you would be afraid.
Well, yeah, and I remember I didn't play the game. I watched both of you play it, and I mean that alone. I didn't play it, but what a trip! Watching the entire thing from beginning to end, it literally creates that sense of almost foreboding in you. Really, like with everything that develops, you just feel like you're going deeper and deeper into that horror without anything ever actually having to do something crazy and pop out at you and get your heart rate to just spike. It would just get there. And I just remember, like, without spoiling anything, when things happened, it left me awestruck. And you walked away with a feeling of, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There
was a couple different times in that game where you would run into different like people or things in the game, and it did have that awestruck. Like, is that like real? Is that what I just witnessed? And then what really made me, this is why I love this game so much, is I played that over a year ago, and I will still think about that game and like the ideas of it.
Right.
Yeah. So there's 2 different times in the game that it really hit me, and one of them was the ending. How it ends is like
man,
insane. And just thinking, what if that was real life? What if that was you? Like, it really puts you in the shoes of the person you're playing, almost better than really any game that I've played in a long time.
Right.
Like, you are that person. Like, if that was you, that is absolutely terrifying.
Definitely.
Well, let's talk about the Zach attack rating. This is a scale that goes from 2 to 13. The first 5 are stars. The second 7 are moons.
How many stars and how many moons would you give?
How many?
I want to know. How many suns, how many moons? Let's hear it.
How many suns, how many moons? Out of 13?
But 2 no less than 2.
Well, it
2
wouldn't
is
be
the
less
minimum.
than 2, yes.
So first off, you have 5 sun options. How many suns would you give it?
4.
Okay, and how many moons would you give it?
Moons.
Out of 6.
Out of 6.
4 as well. Yes, I will split because there were problems with the game. Like some of the gameplay stuff, some of the puzzles that you had to do were a little like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I feel like I'm just kind of wandering
They're
around.
kind of disconnected from the game.
Yeah.
Feeling. Yeah.
And so, but the story is why you should play this game. And so,
And it's super worth.
totally worth it.
How much is it right now?
I mean, when I bought it, I think it was 40. So, and that's on the PSN. So I'm sure on Steam or PC, like
Over a year later.
yeah, it's got to be pretty cheap now.
30, 20?
Yeah, 20, 30, I would assume, but who knows?
So completely worth buying at least. So
For sure.
With the real rating, you'd give $20 to play this game.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But with our rating, 4 whole day cycles.
Yeah.
That is 96 hours.
Just so you're aware.
96 hours worth of thumbs up. All right, Brian. So full circle comes back to you.
Back to
Let's
me.
hear it.
The game that I'd recommend as a professional video game slob, no.
With a problem with hydration.
Yeah.
Hydration. Is I'm gonna go with Darkest Dungeon. I'm an RPG fan, so I'm playing XCOM 2 right now actually. But Darkest Dungeon's something that I have played for 80 hours at this point. I haven't ever, and I've played that over multiple playthroughs. As patches came out, as things changed, because I bought it on early access. I would restart the game and I'd make another game, and so I've maybe made it halfway through and put in that amount of time.
Wow.
And I'm looking to start a new one now that it's completely, it's a done game. It's going to be coming out Vita, PlayStation, those types of things soon. And so I'm going to restart. I'm going to go again. The reason is it's just so unique. It's Lovecraftian, which means, it's based off of H.P. Lovecraft's novels. They've got the Cthulhu vibe, and what that means for
Mythos.
a game, that means for a game is rather than an RPG where you pick your party, you pick your characters, and you go into the dungeon, and you can only be affected by damage, your HP lowering, or maybe mana, which you don't deal with in this game, but, in a lot of RPGs you will. You're also going to deal with madness, and your characters can go crazy. They can become abusive. They can become paranoid, and then they start stressing everyone else out. So
Rightfully
there's
so.
a lot of reasons, your characters going through can be like dying. They can be going crazy. They can be going crazy because of the damage they're taking. They can just take a bunch of damage. And it's really cool in that sense where you're going to be managing your team, trying to keep them sane as you march through these dungeons, as you fight these bosses. And one thing that's cool about it is so far, as all the bosses I've played against and fought, they're all so unique. They have a lot of mechanics that you have to learn and do, and it means like if you know what you're facing, you might pick a different party for it. And I think that's a lot of fun. So in the end, it's just an extremely well done RPG. Has a lot of cool, new elements that they've added. Right. And in the end, it's $20, $25 on Steam. Super worth it if you want, an awesome RPG that's unique.
And I'm looking right now, and it comes out September 27th on PS4 and Vita.
Okay, September 27th.
So that's like
right
just
in
a couple weeks
time.
from here now.
Yeah.
I have played that game, and I have watched you play that game.
Yes.
It's not a game I could play. Mostly because I hated the idea of getting a party, getting them ready, going in, having somebody get slashed for a ton of damage, they're bleeding out, this person's going crazy, that's causing someone else to freak out. It stressed me out. I'd walk away like, oh, God, enough, all right?
Yeah.
Feel like I'd have to go turn some lights on, put some good music on, something cheery, bring the good vibes back. I couldn't do it. It was just too stressful for me.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the appeal, I think, is a good role-playing game is going to put you kind of in the dungeon with the characters. You know, you don't want your strongest, guy to die. So if people are going crazy around him, you might be going, I know it cost me a lot of money, but I got to go back to town because he's losing it. You know, on the flip side, there are virtue chances, too. So if somebody hits the crazy mark, the 100% madness, there is a small chance that they, instead of becoming abusive, paranoid, all these different, bad things, they could hit a virtue. They could become heroic or,
that's
encouraging. And so it's got a lot to it. There's not just, it's the type of game that I think is just close to perfect for what developers were aiming for. Not to say there's not problems. It does get kind of tedious. That's a part of why I've put so much time into it, because you're not just going to have the super strong party that's going to march through dungeons constantly. They're going to go out. They're going to go a little bit crazy. They're going to take some damage. Got to rest them in town, so you got to take party, the B team out, and you take them on a mission, and it's a lower level one. You come back, and hopefully everybody's sane again. You take your good party out. They get hurt again. So you got to switch off between two parties at least. And if people die, you've got to level other people back up, and things like that. And it's very similar to XCOM with that kind of a thing, but
when I played Fire Emblem,
yeah,
I would play that game all the way through without letting anyone die, which is why these permanent death things, as far as RPGs go, I have a problem with. Because I get attached to this one person, I'm like, they're dead, game's done, kill it. But, Brian, if you had to rate this game,
all right,
and you had 5 buckets of cheese puffs in front of you, how many would you eat to play that game again?
Holy crap, 5 buckets of cheese?
And you got to leave the orange on your fingers.
That's disgusting.
But you have to do it. You
How
gotta
long?
do it until you're done with the game.
That'd be like
80 hours worth of orange fingers.
Dude, that'd be like Colter's controllers. All gunked up.
Gamer gear.
All right, Brian, how many?
I would eat at least 4 of those buckets.
At least 4.
Whoa.
Maybe even go for the 5th just because I was still hungry.
Look how much water you drink.
Yeah.
If I was able to
could do
have
it.
a gallon or 2 of water.
Or another 3. Oh, God.
Cheese puffs take up no space in your stomach.
That's true. That's very true.
So, all right. Guys, thanks. This has been awesome. We've got recommended games. That's what we think you should play. This is Gentle Onion Gaming. You can catch us on Twitch. Check the description for that. And we'll talk to you guys later on our next video. Peace out.